Sorry.
There you go, everyone. Once again, Lorelei Hewitt.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Crystal. I'm really honored to be here. And um, she's Crystal has basically given you, I think, a nice synopsis of my history as a mystic. Um, Today, we're going to be talking about shamanic journeying under my tradition, which is the Nordic shamanic tradition. The idea of the shamanic journey is something that I think has probably been around as long as human beings have been doing this kind of work. It is associated with the nature traditions. I think of the mystical traditions a lot of times as the nature traditions, especially the older traditions. And they were very animistic in the way they were practiced and the way they were honored. So I'm sorry, I'm going to just pause here for a second. I need to let's see. I'm sorry, there's just so much going on the screen. I'm just not going to look at it so that I don't get too distracted by everything that's going on. When I first learned about shamanic journeying, it was actually from something called core shamanism, which was brought to us by Michael Harner, which is a teacher. He's somebody that went all over the world and studied with many different shamans. And he came back to the US and condensed all of that information and made things into a very methodical practice for people to be able to learn these kinds of things. Sandra Ingerman is one of his more famous students, although they did have a big falling out over time, as happens with human beings. My teacher that I've really learned how to go into depth with this work is called Betsy Bergstrom. And she's the person that I have learned a lot of the Nordic shamanism that I practice. In the core shamanism, they talk about three realms: the lower realm and the middle realm and the upper realm. And Michael Harmoner was actually quite convinced that that was just kind of a staple. That's how everything worked. That's how the cosmology of reality was. But he didn't take into consideration a lot of the other nature traditions, because in the Nordic shamanic tradition, it's not like that. We have 9 different realms on the tree of Yggdrasil that we visit. And in Tibetan Buddhism, there are more than just those 3 realms as well. The reason I'm bringing this up is I just want you to understand my lineage, and you may hear about those 3 realms from other traditions and other teachers that you may end up learning or practicing shamanic journeying with. In the Nordic shamanic tradition, the animal ally is called Fylgia. It's Fylgia.
Fylgia.
Yeah. Yep, Fylgia. And it's similar to what might be called a fetch in the Irish folklore. It's kind of a guardian spirit, but it's also something that people are born with. The Fylgia was considered something. I read in one place that your Fylgia was sometimes determined by, now this is a little intense, but remember, these are nature traditions. We interacted with nature. We took signs from nature. We studied with nature and saw everything as a sentient being. The wind, the rain, the clouds, the earth, the sky, the trees had a sentience to them that people were in touch with. When a child was born, the afterbirth was off, it was disposed of outside. It was kind of left there. And whatever animal ate the afterbirth, that was often considered the philia of that person.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's kind of a fun little fact. But it's also associated often with what is called in my tradition the hamingia of a person. So a hamingia is like your family power, your family line. And I know that a lot of us may have a very challenging time wanting to be in touch with our genetic lineage, our especially when you're an American mutt, so to speak, when you have so many different genetic lineages in your blood. But those ancestors had tremendous strength. Even if there was a lot of fractured, broken, traumatic stuff, many of the people that are here in the United States, we're descended from people that came over on boats where there were no public bathrooms. They left hardships and were brave enough to go into the unknown, to sail into the unknown. And that is a very brave thing to do. Or you may be descended from people, you know, who were brought here unintentionally, you know, without their desire to be here. But the people that survived had a tenacity and a strength that you can draw upon. Those people that survived all those intense experiences, they have a power that you can pull from. And it's something to be honored and respected. And that is your hamingia. And with that hamingia, sometimes there is an animal totem, a philia, that is associated with that. And that can also be something that would be attributed to a person, that would be their philia. An example might be if you were a Sami person, which is where these magical traditions come from, and that is actually where the word shaman comes from, is the northern European, there in Russia and Finland. The Sami people are reindeer herders, so their animal ally was often a reindeer. And there were many interesting attributes to the reindeer that they honored. It was a very important staple, and still is, actually.
Okay.
The philia nowadays, I think, especially because we have come so far from those tribal roots, we're not, our family ancestry is very multifaceted for most of us. I have Germanic and British and Celtic blood in me. So those are lots of traditions to pull from and lots of different strengths. So the philia, it seems to have really evolved to be more of a personal ally. And indeed, it's an animal that has a lot that it can teach you, and a lot that it can even protect you from. Some of these animal allies that people see, you know, a lot of times, I remember when I first started doing this, I thought for sure my ally was going to be something, you know, really noble, like a Black Panther, or have, you know, a wolf or something like that. But the first thing I saw was actually a squirrel. I have to admit, a little disappointed. Um, until I really understood my gifts more, and I understood the attributes of a squirrel. A squirrel is a chatty communicator. And in the Nordic tradition, when Odin hung on the world tree for 9 days to gain his enlightenment, there was a squirrel that was going up and down the tree, talking and sending him information from the eagles at the top of the tree. Some of that was not always nice information. But as someone who practices mediumship, I look back at that now and I see, oh yeah, as somebody who had those gifts, a squirrel has the attributes of being able to sort of be the mediator, the translator, and the communicator. Some people's animal allies are insects like dragonflies, beetles, spiders. You may have heard about tribes in the north. I believe they're up here in the Northwest, but there are people that there are people. I apologize, I'm not sure which tribe they came from, but they were the spider people. The allies of the entire village, they were spiders, and they have the spider dream catchers, and there was a lot of stories around the weaving of magical things, that the spiders were very good weavers. So even if your animal ally appears to you as something surprising, like a sparrow or something like that, it'll be your task to find out why this ally is your ally. Where does this come from? I'll get more into that as we're approaching the task of doing the actual shamanic journeying. Often the Philgia are beings that will appear in your dreams. So if you've had dreams of an animal, or if you've had recent interactions with an animal, and that might be an indicator of that animal being your Philgia. The other thing that I've noticed is that the Philgia, for some people, it'll be the same animal ally throughout their whole life, but sometimes it changes, and sometimes it morphs and it becomes something else. Because one thing that we do want to remember is this is your mind that you're going to be interacting with. These are physical, symbolic. I'm going to pause at that. I'm sorry. They're not always physical, but they're certainly symbolic representations of non-symbolic energy that you can tap into and use as your ally, as your strength, and gain wisdom from them. And they can also be quite protective as well. And they can also kind of hide you. So how would an animal spirit protect you? If you choose to pursue this path of the shamanic journey, the animal ally can protect you by sort of disguising you. If you are going to places that you want to explore, like maybe the inside of a volcano. You're curious about what kind of fire spirits are down there, or if there's like aliens down there or whatever. If you want to do that, you can merge with your animal ally and just sort of float in there, and your energy signature will look like that of the bear or the dragonfly. It won't look like you. It'll look different, because in those non-ordinary realms, you look like a ball of light, a beautiful, wonderful ball of light. That ball of light we can take pictures of with certain cameras. And if in a lot of the deeper shamanic journeys, you'll see people appear as balls of light. I've seen my dog. When my dog journeys with me, he jumps in my arms and he's like a little ball of light that jumps out of his body, and we go on journeys together. So it can afford you a slightly different sort of signature. It can also be someone that you can talk to if you think of it as a part of your mind that has access to those realms that your brain does not necessarily have a way to um, allow you access. So what do I mean by that? Uh, First of all, let me say I delineate the brain and the mind. The mind is that part of you that is aware, that survives the physical body. That the mind is that part of you that transmigrates into different bodies. Your brain, however, translates that information into this symbolic physical information that you're able to understand and interpret. And it can get a little confusing for people because some people's brains they translate that non-symbolic, that non-ordinary information in different ways. So when you journey into these other realms, you have to have a good sense of how you access information. Some people will hear words in their head. Some people will see images in their mind, or they might have both images as well as auditory stories that they'll hear. They might just get a sense of something. Some people get just an absolute knowing that this is what it is. That's what it's like when people talk about getting downloads. It's just like this overwhelming sense of, okay, I got it. I know suddenly all this information. And if you think of that ally as being kind of a representative of you, of your mind, that holds strengths and powers, but it lives in those thought realms, those non-ordinary realms, and in the astral realms, then when you're interacting it's like interacting with another part of yourself. The animal allies are teachers of your strengths and your weaknesses. What kind of animal appears to you often tells you a little bit about your core character. Now that I know that, I'm glad Black Panther didn't show up, because they're kind of scary, fierce creatures. And honestly, I'm not a very scary or fierce kind of person. I think I've evolved beyond the squirrel aspect of my animal helper. But at the same time, if you come from a lineage where that was your people's ally, that will show up, and that tells you that you have an aspect of that cat that can be kind of sneaky and fierce and yet loving and nurturing and intensely loyal. So as you discover your animal ally today, I'm going to encourage you to go forward and learn what are all the strengths that this ally has to offer. Why is that showing up for you? People will often say to me, I know I'm experiencing these things, but um, is this, um, I'm sorry, I'm just now noticing the chat room here. Is this my imagination? And what I will challenge you with is, what is your imagination? Where does that come from? Why are you imagining that particular thing? Sometimes when we imagine a lot of scary things, what I notice is that people have a lot of scary things going on in their life. There's a lot of fear in their body, and the energy is a little constricted. So when they start imagining scary things, it's a wonderful thing to realize, okay, there's a lot of fear in my body. Really, you might want to take care of that and loosen that up so that your energy is not blocked by the fear. Because I often think of fear and love as the words we use for energy stopping and going, because love compassion, is energy moving freely towards something, connecting with something. When we're afraid, we're wanting to not connect. And often there's really, really good reasons for that. But sometimes it's also because our bodies have become habituated to those things. So if there's something scary around the non-ordinary, it's an interesting piece of information for you. Why is that showing up like that? What is that about? And be able to really look at that. And it's a really safe way. And sometimes you might need a shamanic practitioner to help you with this, but it's a wonderful, safe way for you to face your fears, have a conversation with them, because this is your mind. Uh, so many people will say that they believe death is the thing that people are more afraid of than anything else. And I think actually it is our own minds. It is ourselves, our true selves, that expanded self. That is the thing that we're more afraid of than anything else. So facing ourselves, facing our minds in these symbolic ways is really important. So let it be your imagination. Carl Jung called it active imagination. These kind of shamanic journeys. Carl Jung would have people actively sort of daydream, but interact with their daydream and make things happen in those daydreams and resolve conflicts in those daydreams. A little side note is the more you do that kind of active imagination, that shamanic journey where you're allowing your mind to travel into those non physical realms to understand them more. Your dreams, your sleeping dreams will become more lucid. You will begin to know and understand that, yeah, this is my mind. I know how to do this. I know how to interact with these things. I know how to shift things. I know how to interpret what I'm seeing. You can identify illnesses. You can fight illnesses through shamanic journeying and through dream work. I feel like I'm giving a lot of information very quickly, and I've been talking for almost a half an hour, and I feel like maybe I should pause and ask, does anybody have any questions?
Anybody wants to put their hands up or chime in? And if you're shy, you can always type your question in the chat and I can read it to Lorelei. Any questions? I don't see any, Lorelei. I think
All right.
everybody's paying attention and excited.
Well, the other thing that I do want to add is that often people will have more than one animal ally. You may encounter, oh, is that Shen? You have a question? Oh, there's 3 hands raised.
He's muted.
Shin, you're muted. There we go.
Hi.
Shin.
Hello, Shen.
We can't hear you yet, Shin.
Is the technique good, ideal for Chiron return?
It is ideal for any challenge that anybody has in their life. So yes, absolutely. This is a way for you to understand that more. And
Question.
are there I saw 3 hands, but I guess not. Is that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
Didn't Mary have a hand up?
I didn't see Mary's hand up. No, I don't see any other hands.
So, the other thing about an animal ally is that you can sometimes have more than one. one ally may represent protection for you, another might represent wisdom. And I'm not even sure if represent is the right word, because they embody that. They are that. So if you meet another ally in the future, it's nice to just kind of to interact with them and to ask questions. Curiosity and asking questions is one of the greatest strengths for any mystic to have, and to be brave about talking to even the most cranky people or cranky spirits. Curiosity will get you very far in this. And if you feel that you have the strength of your Pylgia with you, you'll feel a lot braver with that curiosity. So I want to, animal allies, at least in the Nordic shamanic tradition, they've been, you'll see a lot of deities with animal allies, and that's not just in the Nordic tradition. Isis had cats and had, I think it was, I'm sorry, I don't remember if they were ravens or falcons. I'm not as familiar with the Egyptian pantheon, but Freya in the Nordic pantheon, she also had cats and she had falcons. She had a cloak of falcon feathers. Odin has wolves, and he also has 2 ravens that represent thought and memory. So it is something that I guess you could say we've learned from the deities that have come from our ancestors' pantheons, as well as if you observe those pantheons, they come from that, from your pantheons then too. So I want to just describe a little bit about how the Nordic shamanic tradition might be a little different than some of the other shamanic traditions. So one of the things that we use in our traditions is, we'll have a scarf or a hood. And before we get started, we'll take a 5-minute break. If you want to get a scarf or a hood to cover your eyes with for the journey, you're welcome to do that. I also, I don't know if you can see, but I have a lot of staffs here. So I usually hold my staff when I'm journeying. It's really helpful to have some sort of accoutrement, whether it's a necklace, a bracelet, a staff, or a hood, or even a shawl to wear. Yeah, like that. It's helpful because over time that becomes a power object for you, so that when you touch it, your brain is now habituated to going into doing trance work, and it's a helpful step into almost being there. So I would really encourage you, with all of your mystical work, with all of your traditions, to pick a necklace, or maybe a statue that you can hold in your hand, a crystal that you hold in your hand, a staff, something that is your power object, that holds those stories of all these magical, shamanic, traditional stories that you're going to embark upon, even if they're done in more of a new age fashion, in different ways. If you go to get, like, in Buddhism, they'll call them empowerments. In the New Age tradition, they'll call them oh, I can't remember the word now, but it's where you get attuned to a higher frequency. You get initiated. To hold that crystal, hold the necklace, the bracelet, have it with you always, so that it holds the power of that and the memory of that. And I will encourage you to, keep it sacred, not let anybody else hold it. So because that is your power object, and it holds the thought forms, the thought experiences of all those wonderful magical traditions that you're studying. So there's to go into trance. Now, a lot of times people talk about having a higher vibe, a higher frequency, but that's not really, it's not completely accurate all the time, because a faster frequency is a faster brain wave, and it actually inspires more thought. You want to slow those brain waves way down, and what would be considered a lower frequency. Those low tones, those low frequencies actually travel much farther than the higher pitched frequencies. It has been said that when an elephant calls to a friend, another herd of elephants, that sound can be heard 5 miles away. And that's because those low tones, they're inaudible to us humans, but those low tones will travel very, very far. And if you've ever had the experience of somebody driving next to you with booming boom boxes, you can feel their car vibrating your car and your whole insides. Those low tones actually travel really far. So it's not necessarily about having the highest vibe, but it's having the correct vibe, the correct frequency of what you want to work with, so that you can do what you need to do and see what you need to see. Different things are seen with those different frequencies. Now, when we go into trance work, if we slow our brain waves down, that seems to free our mind, just like as if we were going to sleep. It frees our mind up a little bit and becomes a little looser, and allows us to do those journeys, that active imagination, those magical experiences. They're a lot easier for us, and that's what's natural. Some people have used drugs to get to that state, but honestly, it's really not needed. It certainly can open the door for things if you're really stuck, but if you continue with this, the problem with drugs like mushrooms or ayahuasca is you still come back to yourself in this real life, and in this physical life, and your physical mind, your physical brain has the habit of your life there, and you'll just come back to your old self eventually. But if you practice every day, if you do something every day to meditate or do the shamanic journeying, have some sort of trance work where you're slowing your brain waves down so that your mind can become more active, you will find real significant changes begin to manifest in your life. Things just don't bother you as much, and you're connected to a different kind of people. The way that you can go activate a trance state is sometimes through rhythmic rattling or drumming. You can find recordings of that on YouTube, even if you want to try the rattling or the drumming. I find that it doesn't really work that well over Zoom. Zoom has a way of kind of messing with the sound a little bit, and also with my headset, because the sound on my computer isn't working very well anymore. I need to wear this. The rattle and the drum aren't really heard very well. In the Sami tradition, in the Nordic shamanic tradition, we often use song. And song, not with words, but just kind of a lilting lullaby tune, like what you might kind of sing to your child to help them go to sleep, to slow their brainwave down. So that's how I will be leading you into these journeys, is through a kind of humming, lilting tune to allow you to do this. It's different than a guided meditation, but we are going to have assigned tasks that I will give you so that you have an intention, you know what you're going to do. You have the shamanic journey is not one to take the word that comes to mind is willy-nilly. You want to have intention with it. You want to have a reason for the journey. Maybe it is because there's a certain curiosity that you have about the nature of reality or the nature of mind. Or perhaps you just want to understand thought better. Or perhaps you want to, if you get better at this, you can check on your family and friends. And you may not be able to see what they're doing per se, but you will get a sense of their emotions, their sense of, what are they happy? Are they sad? What's going on with them? Just a little side note to that, my personal ethic is that that we only check on people if we have permission to do that, because it gets a little bit rude and intrusive to just kind of spontaneously check in on people, especially if they're psychic at all, they'll feel it, and it can be a little disturbing. So I would always ask, before you send any kind of healing energy, or if you want to check on them. The only exception to that are, I think, if you have children that you're responsible for, then you sort of have an implicit permission to check on them because it's your responsibility. My boys are adults, but they've given me permission to check on them all the time. In fact, one of my sons has said, "Mom, I want you to check on me every day." Like, he just wants me to have him in his mind all the time, which I love, but I'm not going to do that because he just doesn't really understand how much I perceive. So I really don't want to know everything that he does. But it's a beautiful way to access information. And what we're going to be doing for this first journey is we're going to be spending the first 10 minutes, and we're going to be, I'm going to set the space for this, and I'm going to be kind of, there's a thing that I like to do where I combine the heart to heart, mind to mind, but just temporarily for this short time, because it's really nice to have a group mind around what we're doing so that we can all do this together. And I set the tone for that, but what I always say is when I hit, when this meeting is ended, when you leave this space, I usually say when I hit end meeting, because that's usually what happens, but I guess it'll be when Crystal hits end meeting, all those lines of connection are completely dissolved as if they never have been, so they will be completely disintegrated. But for now, as if we were sitting in a physical room connected, because then we would be connected like this all together. And our minds and our hearts would be doing these journeys together as a group. So I'm going to be setting the space to really enhance that feeling and that power, because together, when we're in a group, when the mind is together, it's just easier. There's a coherence there. It's sort of like, oh gosh, when you go to an event with a lot of people and you can feel the excitement of things, you're riding the group mind, and you get excited. Like, I don't really like football, but if I'm at a live football game, I'll get excited about football. Of course, if I'm sitting next to somebody from the opposite team, I end up cheering for the opposite team because I'm riding that energy. My boys are like, they won't let me go with them to games anymore because it gets embarrassing for them. But, I'm an empath. That's just, it's the way it is. So The other thing that I really want to address is that there's people that have a really hard time imagining things, like seeing things. So I want to encourage you that even if you can't imagine a place or imagine the animal, if you just get the impression of that, that's good enough. Just go with that. You might just have a sense of knowing of that. Don't worry if you can't see it in your mind's eye. Not everybody can. Some people, like I said, they'll hear voices. Some people will get impressions. Honor how your brain translates that non-symbolic information, okay? So what we're going to do is spend 10 minutes. We'll be doing 3 journeys. The first 10 minutes is we're just going to be practicing the journey, and we're going to find our safe place. Now that place can be in the lower worlds, middle worlds, or upper worlds. It can be in the sky. It can be in outer space. It can be in a cave. And when I say cave, that would be in the lower worlds. Anything underground kind of is the lower worlds in some of the shamanic traditions. It could be a field. It could be someplace that you know or someplace that you don't know. I will encourage you to seek someplace outside of the room that you're in, though. Don't even if you feel like your bedroom is the safest place, find a different place in your mind, so that way you're not you're getting outside of the habit of your thinking. You're getting outside of your brain's perceptions of things, I guess, is maybe the best way to put that. So it might be a meadow, and you might have to try a few places before you find that. You're going to find your sacred place. Perhaps it's by water. And I'm going to remind you, this can be anywhere. If you want it to be on the moon, you can do that. This is your mind. This is your sacred place. And you might get to a place and look around, and if you feel at all a little, I'm not too sure about it, float off to another one. Find another place till you find a place that is just fabulous. Now, this place can even be an imaginary place. It could be in a crystal cave. It can be whatever makes you feel safe, whatever allows you to be free in your mind. So what will happen is I'm going to invite you to find your sacred space, your safe place. And this is a place that over time you can continue going back there and even sharpen it, enhance it. And you could even put structures up there. You could have by structures like maybe there's a tree that you feel should be by this big rock that you're sitting on near a river. Or it could be, if you're in a cave, there's maybe a pool of water that allows you to scry into. Because this is your mind. It is a sacred space, a safe place that you can go to. So we'll be journeying there, and you're going to be spending 10 minutes. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Just bring it back. And maybe anchor to the words of, I'm finding my safe space, finding my safe place, I'm finding my safe place. I'm finding that place. And then when you get there, I want you to bask in it. I want you to notice what's under your feet. I want you to notice what's above you. I want you to notice what's in front of you, to the sides, and behind. And we're just going to set the intention that right now you will be the only one in that space. We'll be inviting your animal spirit to come into that space, but not yet. And just saying those things out loud. If you're not sure, you just say that. And if there's ever anything that's unsettling or disconcerting, leave it. You know, you can open your mind, open your eyes and go, ah, this isn't working for me, because maybe you're bumping up against a fear that needs to be dissolved in some way, shape, or form. But we're going to set the intention that this is going to be the most lovely, spectacular space that you can imagine. It's a place of power. It's your sacred space. I'm going to just kind of, I'm going to be singing a lilting lullaby tune with no words. I'll be doing that for 10 minutes. Just doing that is making me a little thirsty.
We also have a question from Shin when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm almost ready. Maybe I am ready. Shin, what's your question, my friend? And you'll need to unmute.
Does it have to be a place in nature, or can it be like a structure?
A place in nature, or can it be a structure? Is that what I heard you say or ask?
I don't think we heard you well, Shin.
Yeah.
It has to be a man-made structure. It can be a man-made structure.
I don't see why not. If you wanted to go to a pyramid or something like that, I guess that it's your mind. You get to do what you want. The only rule I'm really going to put on this is that it cannot be the room you're sitting in, and it cannot be a room in your house. I would like you to get outside of that. But if there's like a magical castle or a pyramid or a sacred mound like what they have in Ireland and under the ground, then absolutely, it's your mind. If that's the safe, if that's what?
But it can't make you feel dreadful or bored or anxious, right?
Yeah, this is yeah. It should not help. It should not make you feel being bored. Maybe is not that terrible of a thing. If you're bored, just start adding things to the landscape. Just not a person yet. Not yet. Not your animal spirit. And I'm going to ask even all of your spirit guides to respectfully allow this journey to be a solo journey for you. So you can kind of, they can be in the background, but in your mind, what you're perceiving, just allow for you to create that. Because there are some of you I can feel that have really strong spirit guides already, and just ask them to just, they can watch from afar. They're always watching, but just to allow you to have this mindscape for yourself. All right. And yes, it should be something that that is really wonderful, safe, and peaceful. And it's all yours. So does anybody have any questions about this? All right, so I think before we get started, I'm gonna allow us to take a little bit of a break. And since some of you are you don't have your monitors on, maybe when you get back, if you could either maybe, I don't know, raise your hand to let us know that you're back. But I'm going to invite you to go and get a scarf, a hood. Like I have a separate hood like this that I use, but I'll be watching you journey. But it could also be a scarf. Some people like to have the kind of masks that you would sleep with, to put over their eyes. Some people like to lay down. I encourage you to try this sitting up so that you could be in nature. You could go out to the ocean, and you can have a shamanic journey, you know, sitting up anytime. But if you want to lay down, that is laying down is how it was taught in the Michael Harner tradition. But very few shamanic traditions do shamanic journeying laying down. Usually it's sitting up. But I'll invite you, if that is what you've learned in the past, if that's what you're comfortable with, I'll invite you to do that. So let's just take a quick break. You need a bio break if you want to go to the bathroom. A quick note, another thing that's nice to have on hand is a drink of water afterwards. All right, so when you come back, let us know that you're back.
All right, everyone, we'll see you back at 7 o'clock. 5 minutes. That sound good, Lorelei?
So I'm going to set the space first, and I will be invoking the Norns, which are the Nordic goddesses of fate, in my invocation. And another aspect of trance work is breath work. So I'm going to be inviting you to breathe here pretty soon too. All right. So I declare that this is a sacred space, this is a sacred place, and this is a sacred gathering. I thank the Norns that spin and weave our fate for helping to create this sacred space. I thank the Norns for connecting us all here, heart to heart and mind to mind temporarily, just for this short time. When crystal hits end meeting, all these lines of connection will be completely dissolved as if they never have been and never will be. But for now, temporarily, we must see what must be seen, hear what must be heard, feel what must be felt, speak what must be spoken so that we can do what must be done, and find our animal bilgia, our animal spirits, to help guide and protect us through our sacred journeys of the unknown. I want to give thanks to the elements and the guardians of the elements and the directions and the guardians of the directions, for although we are all in different physical locations, we are in one liminal location and one virtual location. We do not understand how this is so, but we know that it is. And we thank you for stabilizing this sacred connection. And I thank the Norns, and I thank all of our spirit guides and our compassionate ancestors for standing by close to all of us, for allowing us to have this sacred journey in our minds, free from time and space. The limited physical places do not matter in that liminal space. So I want you all to take deep breaths with me. Keep breathing deeply as I speak to you. And as you exhale, I want you to drop your grounding roots. Imagine a beautiful bar of light, a line of light, going deep into Mother Earth, going deep, grounding yourself, connecting yourself. So with each exhale, your roots drop deeper. And when you inhale, the earth energy comes up into your body. And as you exhale, those roots drop a little deeper. And as you inhale, Earth Mother's energy comes up into your body. Now open your crown chakra. And as you inhale the earth's energy, it goes up through your body, up to the cosmic sky. And as you exhale that cosmic energy, the energy of the sun, the energy of the stars goes down through your body into the earth. So as you exhale, the energy drops down. As you inhale, it goes up. So you're connected. Like Yggdrasil, the world tree. And your bodies are grounded and safe so that your mind can journey far, and your bodies know that even though your minds will wander to this sacred space, your bodies are safe in this physical place. Now I invite you, my friends, to journey forth. Find your sacred space, your sacred place. Ooh. Ah. 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 Ooh. 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 Ah. Ooh. 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 Ah. Ooh. 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 Ah. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, 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 wow. Oh, oh, ah, 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 oh, ah. Oh, ah, 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 oh, 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 ah. Oh, oh, ah, oh, oh, ah, oh, oh, ah, oh, oh, ah. Oh, ah, oh, ah, oh, ah, oh, ah. Oh, wow. Oh, oh, ah. Oh, 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 ah. 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 Oh, oh, ah. Come back now, come back now, come home now, come home now, come back now, come back now, come home now, come home, come home, come home. Now I invite you to open your eyes, coming home to your body. And because these experiences are best given voice to, you've all been assigned rooms to go to. And I know you're still in a trance state, and it's good to learn to go in and out. But I want you now to go into the assigned room that you have. Each of you has a number by your name. To go into that room and give voice to what you saw. Give voice to what you felt. Give voice to what you experienced. If you feel that it's too sacred, give voice to that too. You can give voice to the feelings of it, but it will anchor it into physical reality if you can do that now. So I invite you to go into those rooms and give voice, share your experiences with each other, and come back when you're done. Words, if you have a Nancy?
I just, on the second time we went under, I got physically really hot. I don't know what that was.
Yeah,
That mean anything?
yeah, it means you're raising the energy. When the energy gets expanded, when it raises, people can get really hot. Like, you could call it Kundalini or Prana or Megan in my tradition. It's called Megan, but it means that you're on the right track and you're raising power. The longer, this is the kind of thing that honestly, you know, to learn shamanic journey properly, it's like a 2-day weekend thing. So you're getting a little taste of it now. I guess I'm inspired to suggest if you're interested in kind of a practice and doing this more often, you can contact me or Crystal, and maybe we can set something up and have a regular shamanic journeying group, either through BEPC or in some way, shape, or fashion. Is that okay to say that, Crystal? Yeah, because my passion is to encourage people to have a daily practice. So if you can do something like this every day, it's just this like, wow, it opens up things that you just you haven't even imagined yet. So good work in getting hot. Donald.
Well, I had a lot of fun, especially starting in the second room, because I felt my chest opening up, and I was like breathing easy and really feeling good about the whole thing. And also, I've had my spirit animals with me for a long time, but I never thought to ask them their names. And today it occurred to me, why not? So I did. And they told me. So that was really neat.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really cool.
Yeah. I
I
have
want
one who's
to
a big
know.
What?
I want to know the names.
Oh, you want? Okay. Well, one of them is a big black wolf who tells me his name is Wolfen. Very simple. I like it. And the other one is a small brown weasel who doesn't give his name. But he said I can call him Shinobi, which is the Japanese word for spy or ninja. Because if you want to go send somebody out and get some information, you can't beat a weasel because nobody ever sees them unless they want to be seen. So that was really neat. Thank you.
It in action.
Oh, thank you. It's really cool. And it's thank you for sharing that. And it helps people see that different animals, they have different strengths and different things. So I would suggest you have more conversations with your weasel and see what kind of things he has to tell you. Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of like Odin's ravens, right? They would go out to the world and come back and bring him info.
You recommend a place to look up traits or not?
I do. I like to do that. When you say recommend a place, I just ask the Google God, the great Google God. Just ask Google, and you might find some really interesting aspects about your spirit animal, and it might make sense to you. It's like, oh, this is why this particular animal showed up. You know, there are weird things about these wonderful creatures of nature that are an aspect of your mind, that they're showing up like that for a reason. They're showing up like that in that form because there's a part of your mind that knows that animal, that knows those traits. You're a part of nature. You are nature. And your mind is a part of the nature of mind. So it knows things that your brain doesn't always translate for you in ways that are useful. But once you get the hang of this trance work stuff, it's like so much information is available to you in so many different ways. It's a lot of fun.
Indeed. Thank you.
Any other questions or things that you want to share?
I'll say I got a grizzly bear, and initially he stood up, so he was really big and kind of scared me. And I had asked, "Do you have a message?" He said, "Don't be afraid," because I was afraid. And then he laid down and took a nap. But I asked him what his name, and he said James. Okay, James.
Okay. Just really quickly, another aspect of the Filgia is that they will often have a physical persona, like a physical person. They'll look like a physical person sometimes, and then they'll also look like an animal.
Yeah, when he stood up and was big, he still smiled. You know, he was very, and then when you said touch, because I wanted to touch him the second time, but I always had this fear. And then you said it's okay to touch him. Then I touched him, and I felt this kind, gentle, loving, strong, confident, you know, just all of this in this one. And I just sat down where he was sleeping, and I just sat there and leaned on him. I had to touch him because he looked so soft and fluffy.
Yeah. You know, Nancy, what occurs to me with this, and only you know because this is your mind, but what occurs to me is that I think of, you know, bears as being quite strong, and perhaps there's a little bit of the fear of your own strength that you're facing right there. And you've just like realized how soft and fluffy your strength actually is in a very strong way. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yours was a cobra. And cobras are really sacred animals in a lot of traditions. So you may already know a lot about that, Gurpreet, but a lot about the cobra, but if not, oh, I'm sorry, and that was a direct message to me. I hope it was okay that I shared that with the group. I apologize if it wasn't. But it's beautiful and powerful, and I'll encourage you to look that up. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could go into the traits of a cobra of what I know, but we're out of time. So it's probably better for you to look that up. You're going to find some amazing stuff about cobras. Amazing. In many different traditions. And yeah. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Crystal.
No, I was going to say thank you, Lorelei, for taking us on this journey.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, everybody enjoyed it. And Shin, if you want to stay on and answer a question, quick question afterwards, that would be fine. Just a reminder, everyone, October 21st, we'll be meeting for Discover the Grays, ET Being Encounters with Deborah DeMoss Smith. I've put the information in the chat for you as well. And if we all could just give Lorelei a quick one more round of applause. Thank you so much for coming
you.
today and spending these 2 hours with
Thank you.
us. And everyone, I'm still looking for a few more BEPC volunteers. October 19th and 20th is the expo. We'll hope that you'll be able to visit us that weekend. And if you could volunteer even for a couple hours, that would be very helpul.
So
There's a
are we
form online.
meeting? We're meeting before the expo or after the expo? I can look at the calendar.
Oh, we meet the day after the expo.
Oh,
So October 21st is the meeting and the expo is the 19th and 20th.
So, and I do want to encourage you, if any of you have questions or comments, I feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to support people in their personal practices. So thank you for joining me.
bye.
Thank you, Lorelei.
Bye.
I'll put our information in the chat one more time, everyone. All right, let me see if I can move everybody. Lorelei, if you want to stay on.
Yeah, I will.